Hey everybody, welcome back to PAC Talk. It's me, your host, Pete Vodden. And I'm here today with my friend, Mitzi Avila. Is it Avila or Avila?
Avila.
Avila. Okay, Mitzi Avila. I met Mitzi at Pharos Athletic Club in Palm Springs. Mitzi is one of our members there, and she's a boxer. She boxes with me. She's a fantastic little boxer, and very, very fit and very athletic. Moves very well as a boxer, which is always good to see. And we basically started a conversation. And today's kind of like topic is nothing I really knew about a few months ago. Mitzi kind of introduced me to this topic and this method and this area of interest. So I'm learning from Mitzi as I go. And Mitzi's going to go deep into this. But essentially, Mitzi owns a company called Cyto-Wellness. And Mitzi's going to tell you what that is in a second. But I went through this with Mitzi. Mitzi did a scan for me. I was kind of blown away by how effective and how accurate it was. Mitzi was basically able to break me down very quickly and like what she thought might be wrong with me and what I'm kind of going through kind of thing. So it was very, very telling. But Mitzi, first of all, welcome to the podcast. Good to have
Thank
you
you.
here.
Thank you very much.
And secondly, let's just start with a little bit of background about how you got into this way of this kind of like method of helping people. What kind of ignited it? How you got to where you are now, and kind of the story of how it all developed.
All right. Well, I kind of grew up on a ranch where we had all our own stuff, our own beef, our own chickens, our own everything. And when I was in my teens, my dad decided to do his own business and we got rid of everything. And that's when I started to have digestive issues. And so doctors were like, nothing's wrong with you, you're fine. And it wasn't until my mom took me to a naturopath and said, hey, she goes, I know exactly what's wrong with you. Let's get you a colonic, let's get you all these supplements and change your diet and you'd be fine. And sure enough, I felt amazing. So that's when I decided that's what I want to go do. And I found a school and been doing it ever since. But how I came across this scanner was one of my friends, her dad invented the company. And I went to his lecture and I fell in love with it. And I said, I want one. So he said, send me your degree and your certifications and you can buy one. But you do have to have your training to understand the dynamics of how the body works in conjunction with each other, like each organ works with each other. Um, so what this does is you put your hand on this little device, this little guy, and this is reading the galvanic skin response, which is technically the electrical impulses that go from meridian to meridian. So what a acupuncturist would use to kind of, we have a connect the dot system in our body, and each part of that connect the dot has an electrical output. So an acupuncturist is going to make sure all those dots are doing the right kind of electrical output. Some of them
Mm.
fail, some of them are not as strong, and this is where we start to feel our aches and pains, or we're not feeling that great. So this reads it. It's no different than our smartwatch and how our smartwatch reads our biometrics. It's the same technology, just more advanced. So
Okay.
instead of reading one or two things, I can read 2,000 things. And so then it gives me a printout and I can read that based off of kind of like a hand reader. I can read exactly what's going on, why you're not sleeping, why you're feeling anxious, why you're having digestive problems, so forth. So from that, we fine tune your regimen so that you feel even better.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I mean, it's basically it's a lifestyle product for kind of improving everything, right? From,
Right.
like you said, from sleep to energy to gut health and all that kind of stuff. And I've been kind of thinking out of it, and I know a lot of guys are familiar with InBody because we do the InBody scan for the body fat percentage and all that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of thinking about this is it's kind of like an InBody for for your hormones and your cells, right? Is
Yes.
that kind of accurate? So it's
Yes.
like, whereas the InBody is reading your body fat percentages and your skeletal muscle mass and your body fat mass and that kind of thing. This scan is basically more kind of reading your internal organs, and giving you feedback. What did you call it? A biometric? It is technically a biometric scan.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's a
it's an
biometric
in-depth
scan.
biometric scan that's giving you a ton of information. And guys, when you do this, you can see it all kind of coming through in real time on the computer as the data comes through. And it's a very, like I said before, I was very kind of blown away with how accurate this was and what you were able to tell me, very quickly about myself, which, we all know kind of things about ourselves. Like, yeah, I don't get enough sleep. I am very stressed. I do have a very busy life. I am very physical. Like there's a lot of things
That's
obviously that
actually
we
my favorite
know.
part is the fact that I can tell you all about your body and you're like, oh my God, yes. And when I get a client who's really struggling and doctors aren't helping them a whole lot, and tell them, okay, look, here's how we can improve your sleep. Here's why you're not sleeping. Here's why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And
Yeah.
that is knowledge is power to me.
Yeah. And it's very kind of in line with everything we're kind of seeing in terms of, people are looking for more natural solutions to problems that they have that don't, that aren't pharmaceutical drugs. And as you said, it kind of starts with nutrition and hydration. And I think your personal story about how you kind of fixed your own, gut health issues, with your own kind of nutritional habits. I think that's true of so many people. I think a lot of people find out that, a lot of things, and of course, you know, there's always a place for medicine and pharmaceuticals and that kind of thing. But of course, there has been an over reliance on that, and of course, it's just the easy solution is always just to put someone on drugs, right? That always seems to be the default in America.
Right.
When something's wrong with someone, you just get them on this thing. Whereas a lot of things can be solved with better nutrition, um, understanding. One of the things that you'll go through when you do this scan is intolerances, right? Things your body doesn't actually process that well, things you're actually intolerant to. And it might be stuff that you like that you don't doesn't feel like it's doing anything wrong to you. You don't sense anything, but it's just that your body isn't breaking it down very well, and it is causing some inflammation, and it is causing some problems, and it is irritating you in a certain way that you perhaps don't know. And obviously often
What's
we're eating things
funny
together. We're eating
is
things. Go ahead.
totally, most people actually do know. Most people actually know what foods their body likes and doesn't like.
Right.
But sometimes we just, do it just for fun. But
Yes.
that's when we feel bloated, we feel fatigued, we feel brain fog, we feel, the excess gain of weight, and we just feel the symptoms of that, which is typically the bloating and fatigue.
Yeah. When you just to take it back just a little bit. So when your degree is as a naturopath, right?
I'm a traditional naturopath.
Traditional
So,
naturopath.
which means that I can't administer shots. I'm not a doctorate. I can't diagnose, but I can tell you, hey, these things are a little out of balance. Here's how you're kind of feeling based off of the scan. And this is where, I can say, okay, go to your doctors and, for ladies, get a Dutch test and help you navigate a little bit better to understand why your body's feeling the way it is.
When you went to do that, and what year was that when you did the naturopath course?
Oh gosh, long time ago. 99.
Okay, 99. That was right before I did my biosignature with Charles Poliquin, which was, he was essentially on that naturopath kind of line of things with his kind of supplement regime. And at that time, what kind of resistance was there to that kind of way of thinking?
Oh gosh, a lot.
Yeah.
It actually, you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
Um, After I graduated, there weren't a whole lot of jobs for naturopath unless you started your own practice.
Right.
And I actually went to work for Budweiser for about 6 years.
Mm. Went the other way.
Yep. But it paid the bills
Yeah.
until I was able to find someone who could take an internship and kind of guide me through that process. And I was really blessed to work with a lot of different doctors that taught me so much. I think
Mm.
Most of my training and my skill set has come from doing the internships and working with other doctors and having those hands-on experiences.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because, I think it's obviously now at this time, it's becoming a lot more, mainstream,
Oh, big
you
time.
know
Shock Hospital now has a naturopath, a doctorate naturopath on staff. A lot of doctors are bringing naturopaths on to their team because they're understanding how a keto diet can actually heal some of those cancer
Yeah.
um, cells, and they're using diet and supplements to work in conjunction with.
Yeah, and obviously, I've been in this kind of world for a long time, and I've always kind of seen and had the benefit of supplementation, whether it just be things as simple as like creatine or magnesium or fish oils or vitamin D or all the basic stuff which we now know are effective. The data is there, and again, things that before might have been considered kooky or, or extreme or like for bodybuilders or whatever, all these things are now. And I think about creatine specifically because creatine, back in the 90s and the 2000s, it was almost exclusively for bodybuilders. But now, of course, we see it a lot more mainstream, basically recommended for everybody, both for muscle health, but also in terms of brain function and
Brain
cognitive health.
function and hormone function now. A
Yeah.
lot of women are using it for menopause and balancing those hormones. So it
Yeah.
has a lot of benefits all the way around.
Yeah. And that's been great to see because, a lot of these things are relatively inexpensive. Creatine's inexpensive. Um, vitamin D is inexpensive. A lot of these things that can help us, you know, compared to the cost of, medical stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
going through this awful insurance thing at the moment. It's just a nightmare.
Do
But
you know that most diseases or health conditions are due to three different things? Mineral deficiency, um, pathogens like heavy metals, bacteria, mycotoxins, fungi, and mold,
mm,
and parasites. So if you can get rid of all of those, your body knows how to heal itself. And that's what this scan does, is it reads what is present and how do we get rid of that, and cleansing. Growing up, girl, my grandma used to chase me around with cod liver oil because every season you had to cleanse, right? And I hated it. But now I know why.
right.
And I mean, when was the last time you did a cleanse? When is the
Yeah.
last time anyone has done a cleanse?
Yeah.
You know?
What does the cod liver oil do specifically?
Cod liver oil is high in vitamin A, so it's good for retinol, skin, so forth. But usually back then we used to use it to kind of get rid of parasites, get rid of all those toxins, and it would make you go to the bathroom a lot. So you're cleansing in that aspect.
Right.
Um, Castor oil is another one. It has arylic acid that actually causes the peristaltic waves, which is those cramping sensations in your stomach,
Mm.
which gets everything out.
Where do you think, and like parasites and all these toxins are so frequent now. Is that just because of, the way we live and the chemicals that we're subjected to all the time, both in our food and in our environment, all that kind of stuff? Are we just seeing it more and more, and is it getting worse and worse?
It's getting worse and worse. When I came out of school, it was like you would cleanse every 6 months, and now it's every 3 months. And now, honestly, unless you live in a bubble, you're gonna be exposed to fungi and mold. I mean, I get that question all the time. Well, how did I get it? You can get it by chemicals you're adding to your skin, lotions. You can get it through your food daily. You can walk around barefoot and pick up parasites. So
Yeah.
most of the time, our body has a natural ability to expel all of these as long as your pathways of elimination are open. But when we get constipated or your lymphs are swollen and you're not doing a lot of lymphatic flushing, you're not drinking um, enough water
Yeah.
with electrolytes. That is actually the number one thing I see. Like if someone came to me and said, Mitz, what's the one thing that you see constant across the board is dehydration.
Mm.
All of us are dehydrated. And
Yeah.
I always get, well, I drink a gallon and a half of water. Yeah, but you're actually you're not getting the minerals from that. So think of it this way. You have a river that goes down, right? And it's picking up all these minerals from the earth, right? As we consume it, we're actually absorbing all those minerals. The trace minerals, magnesium, potassium, calcium, all those good things that we're absorbing. Well, now our our water is stripped of all of that. So it no longer has those minerals. And none of us think to replace that back in, right?
Mm.
So if you're sweating, if you're working out a lot, if you're changing your diet and your body's naturally flushing those potassium levels, those are those things that make you feel the aches and pains in your body without. So if you're not drinking enough water with those electrolytes, you're going to feel a lot more pain. You're going to feel more headaches. You're going to feel more heart palpitations. And
Does if you're drinking water, like Fiji water or something like that that says it's like naturally sourced, is that fixing part of the problem? And is the problem tap water, or does it not matter?
well, don't drink tap water. Tap water is like the scariest thing ever, but you know what? The government allows the amount of pharmaceuticals to be in our water and the amount of dead things that are in our water. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But definitely filter your water, but just make sure you replace the minerals back in. So, a good salt, Himalayan salt is good. Redmond's real salt is good. The, that gray Celtic salt, the dirtier it looks, the
Yeah.
better it is, the more minerals. But we're
Yeah.
also lacking potassium. And when you work out a lot, you do the sauna a lot, you're flushing a lot of that potassium out. And so that can cause some heart palpitations. Or if you're
Mm.
drinking alcohol, you can actually flush all your electrolytes out. You start to feel that's why you have the hangover the next day because you flushed all of your electrolytes out. It wipes them out. So potassium is one of those ones where you know how when you drink and you hear your heartbeat in your ear?
Yeah.
That's a sign that your potassium levels are really, really low. And that's when people tend to have cardiac issues at night because they're extremely dehydrated. The lack of potassium actually puts stress on your heart, and your heart works twice as fast. So
What's the best way to get potassium apart from like, but everyone knows bananas, right? That's always the people
a
think.
potato has 400 milligrams, bananas. There is like if you're really looking for like a higher potassium level, because we need about 3 to 4,000 milligrams of potassium a day. And usually we're going to get that through our greens or potatoes, stuff like that. But if you're doing like a diet that's like a carnivore diet, which is going to restrict that, you can add this one called New Salt, NU salt, and that has high amounts of potassium as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I probably could do with that. I think you know, if I was to say, and I do take a lot of supplements, but if I was to say I was low in anything, I think my potassium intake is probably lower than it should be. And I think we talked about this when I did my scan.
yes,
That's one thing I need to work on. What about what's kind of your take on mercury and fish and that kind of stuff? Do you see a lot of
heavy
mercury,
metals, yeah.
heavy metal, mercury toxicity? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I love that you have the sauna there because doing a good sauna treatment with the red light is actually going to help get rid of those heavy metals naturally. And if I would add like an activated charcoal to that because activated charcoal is a binder. It's going to bind with those metals and get that out. But
Mm.
the only downside is activated charcoal will bind with everything. So don't take your supplements or medication 4 to 6 hours from that.
Would you take the activated charcoal before you went in the sauna? Is that
Yes.
yeah?
So,
Okay.
say like 30 minutes before, I would take the activated charcoal, get in the sauna, do my little cycle, and that would help bind with those heavy metals to get them out.
How long when you kind of see these issues with people, and you can tell either they're deficient in something or they do have the heavy metal poisoning, whatever. How long does it take to kind of like fix someone?
It depends on the level of toxicity. Um, if they're healthy, you were really, really healthy. So your body balances out very fast. Other people, shoot, I can usually get them balanced within 3 to 6 months.
Mm,
Sometimes some are about a year,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. And of course, it's relative hugely like how well they are behaved on their diet, and you know obviously physical activity plays a part as well, and how active and healthy they are in other ways. Because
exactly.
obviously one of the things we always talk about is nothing exists in a bubble, right? Everything contributes. So the way you live, the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you train, all those things come together to create this kind of more holistic view of ourselves. And
True, but
then
in that sense, people can get stressed out. And a lot of times people don't want
sure.
to see me because they're like, I'm not ready to go 110% on my health. And what I like to let people know is you can have the 80-20 balance. And as
Mm,
long
yeah.
as you're doing things to help your body get rid of those toxins, like the sauna. One of the reasons why I joined your gym, well, it's two reasons: boxing, and you had the sauna and the cold plunge. That is phenomenal for helping your body cleanse and get rid of those toxins and, revitalize the body.
What's your take on the cold plunge? What's the real benefits of that in your kind of opinion?
Well, you're gonna help the body regenerate on a cellular level. So when you go into the sauna, and I love that you have the red light, by the way, um, you're opening up your lymph nodes and you're flushing through the skin. So if I was me, I like to do dry brushing. Do you know what that is? Okay, so I do dry brushing before I go into the sauna. Sweat it out. What that does is it opens up all the pores on your skin. It gets all that dead skin off, and then you can sweat out the toxins better. You have the red light, which is actually penetrating. Do you know how red light works? Sorry, I should ask.
No, go into it so that the people
Okay,
know.
so red light, you have blue and green light, orange, and then red. It's about like blue and green are topical. So if you have any skin stuff, it'll kill the bacteria topically. And orange is a little bit deeper, goes on a deeper level on the skin, and the red penetrates all the way down to the cellular level, where you're actually regenerating the cells, you're helping them heal, you're detoxifying the cells from that deeper level. So that's why red light therapy is so beneficial.
Mm.
Flushing those toxins out, getting those cells to open up and get the toxins out of the cells into the bloodstream and sweating it all out.
Are you a fan of like the red light pads and stuff that you can get now?
Yeah, I have one here at home.
Oh, you do? Great.
Yeah.
Uh, How long do you usually spend on that?
20, 30 minutes. I do
Okay.
it while I'm watching TV usually.
And is that something I'm guessing you don't feel like an immediate benefit, right? It's something that
No,
like
this is
progressively
long
over
term. You
time.
got to use consistently
Yeah.
and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with a lot of things is like when we're talking about health and supplementation of all these things that are good for us, because sometimes we don't get an immediate response. Like caffeine, we love because we get like an immediate response, right?
Right.
Ice bath, you can feel it straight away. Sauna, you can feel it straight away. But other stuff, it takes time and it's more subtle, and it's not like an immediate kick. So I think sometimes those things are the harder sells, because you're trying to tell someone, no, this is good for you. You need to do it consistently. But because they're not seeing like they're not feeling like an immediate sensation. It's harder for them to buy into it. But
Well,
this
this
is
is
why
why.
obviously the scanning helps because it's the same thing with InBody. It's like you need feedback. You need to see
Yes.
something where you're like, oh shit, like I can see things getting better. And then our brains are like, okay, I'm going to stick with this now. But you need to see that progress because you don't necessarily feel it.
Well, when you get to see your organs on a piece of paper and things are in the red, it makes you wake up and go, "Oh, crap. Okay, I
Yeah, totally.
really need to pay attention," versus me saying, "Well, I think you're a little dehydrated." This is gonna tell you exactly, "Oh, yes, you are." And you get to see the percentage of how is my brain being affected by not eating enough protein? We
Yes.
talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Are you getting
Yeah.
enough protein for muscle mass? And are you What that is like the number one thing I talk about. People are not eating enough protein for what they're actually doing. And not just physically, but brain health. The brain uses branched chain amino acids for its function. This is why you have brain fog. This is why you get moody. The sugar craving, do you have sugar cravings? Okay, sugar
I don't.
cravings, you don't?
Yeah. No.
Most sugar cravings, most are coming from the brain. So when your brain is not getting enough branched chain amino acids and omega-3 from their food, it's starving, which most of the time a lot of people just go, 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 and they don't stop to eat. So then it says, all right, fine, you're not going to give me any fuel. I'm going to make you get me glucose, sugar. And I'm going to bypass your willpower, and you're going to get me chocolate because I need to survive. It's the body's way of surviving. Give me a quick fuel glucose hit. I don't care. But
Yeah.
reality, all we need is some protein and some omegas.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And I think so many people will be able to relate to that because, I think that's such a common thing. Oh, I'm low in energy. I need sugar. Like, you need again, that quick fix because you get
Yeah.
like an immediate sensation. And at that point, it's too late, right? You haven't fueled yourself haven't fueled yourself properly. At that point, it's too late. So you're reaching for that emergency solution
Right.
type
And
thing.
just like
Yeah.
the caffeine, I need a quick hit.
Yes.
I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, me
But
too. Yeah. You didn't hydrate
and then
properly. You didn't get enough
hydrate,
nutrients.
yes.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to teach at your club, is to teach people how to start to listen to their bodies.
Yeah.
You know, I have 4 golden rules. Okay, ready for these golden rules?
Yeah, I'm ready.
If you're tired, you need protein. If you're moody, you need carbs. If you can't think straight, you need fats, good fats like omegas. And if you're craving salty food, you need electrolytes.
Mm.
So that's now
Hey,
you
that
tap
that
in.
that that what you just said, that's helpful. That might be the caption for this podcast because that's great. I love that.
So yeah, we forget to listen to ourselves and why we're feeling the way we're feeling. We just go for, like you said, a quick fix. And sometimes food is a good fix. I don't like recommending a lot of supplements because I think we're over supplemented.
Yes. We're just not eating the right foods. Yeah.
You're not eating the right foods.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the things when you come and see me, I recommend bring your supplements in because so many times people are spending hundreds of dollars on supplements they do not need,
Right.
or they're taking the wrong ones, or they're double dosing on supplements just because it's a different brand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I most likely can save you money on supplements you don't really need.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what are your thoughts on nootropics?
I love nootropics. I love them.
Tell everybody like A, what they are, and B, because this has been relatively new. Again, Poliquin was talking about this, certainly in the early 2000s, but they've really become popular in the last, few years. And you're seeing them all over the place now. But for people that don't know, can you just let them know like what they are and what they do?
Nootropics give you a mood uplifter, and they change your neurotransmitters so that your body can either calm its racing thoughts or it can balance out, and you just feel so much better, a lot more focused. They're using it a lot more in pre-workouts now because
Mm.
it's helping you focus on your task at hand.
Yes.
And it's actually really good for people who with ADHD, which honestly, I scanned so many people. I want to say 75% of humanity is now ADHD, which
Right.
is
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing, when you have attention deficit disorder. It's not a disorder at all. It's actually a superpower. It means that your brain is functioning at such a high capacity, it can't focus on one thing. It focuses on multiple things.
Mm.
And so you're just functioning and firing in all cylinders. So the nootropics help you balance those neurotransmitters to actually get that good feeling focus, and it raise your serotonin levels and balance your GABA, which are neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
And that is typically made in the gut. So everything starts in the gut, but it takes time. It takes, honestly, anywhere from 3 to 7 years to rebuild your gut microbiome.
Wow.
So no one's going to wait 3 to 7 years to get balanced and make their own GABA and make their own serotonin in their gut. So this is why nootropics come in and they help you rebalance much faster.
Yeah, I mean, I take them before I took them before this podcast. One second, I just gotta stop my cat from getting in.
Oh no, that's my cat.
Oh, that's your cat? Oh,
Yeah,
very good.
sorry.
I thought my cat was coming up on me. Um, yeah, I take nootropics before I did the podcast. I take them before meetings. I take them before I train. I take GABA at night on your recommendation. So, and that's been very helpful. So yeah, I'm a big fan. And I have different ones. One's called Breadwinner. There's another one that we have installed from First Form called well, I think actually there's one from Raw called Brain. It's just called Brain. And there's the drink that we have from a local company, the pre-workout drink, which I think is also called Brain. But that's fantastic as well. Um, and you that is something you will feel like almost immediately, like just that sense of clarity, that sense of focus, the the kind of like dark clouds kind of like go away.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't say, oh, I've just got terrible brain fog, or I had brain fog, or that's become such a thing in modern society. That And I don't remember when I was growing up, I don't remember the term brain fog at all. But now everybody talks about brain fog, right? There's just like, and whether it's just
Well,
like the abundance of too much information, like our phones, our computer, like all of it is just too much. And we just get like you said, we just get like haywire. We need to rein in those neurotransmitters and get them like
well, no
control.
one no one was diagnosed ADHD back in the day,
Right.
and that didn't exist. And if you were just a problem child back in the day. So now we're starting to understand brain health. And Dr. Amen talks about how we know more about the stars in our sky than we do in our own brain. We
Yeah.
still have not mapped our brain to a quarter of its potential. And this is why I think we're now starting to get more information. We're studying more about brain health. We're understanding what brain fog is, how to use nootropics instead of using medication. Because back before they would put you on gabapentin to calm your brain down.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people are kind of straying away from that because they're not wanting the side effects, and there aren't any side effects to nootropics.
Yeah. Exactly.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and so you want the high focused without the negatives, and that's what those are really good for.
Yeah. You don't want to numb yourself, right? It's not like I don't want to numb my brain. I just want it to like zone in and focus on what I wanted
You
to
wanna
focus.
focus on, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why I put you on GABA because, so many people with ADHD, their brains are working at such a high capacity, and a lot of people who work out, especially the gym at Pharos, all high functioning, all power people,
Yeah.
people that are just doing wonderful massive things all at once, They're the power players. So that's why they like high intensity workouts. They like functioning at pushing themselves and being the best. And this is what my job is to fine tune all of that so that
Mhm.
they can make their brain work better for their body and make their body work better for their brain.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I know a lot of people, that whether you want to call it an alpha mindset or whatever, but very driven people who they are trying to like get the most out of their day and get the most out of their lives. They're not looking for distraction. They're looking for progress. They're looking for production. They're looking for how can I maximize the time in my day to get as much done as possible. And we're balancing family, work, like social stuff. We're balancing all these different things and trying to cram in as much as we possibly can without burning out. And that really is the challenge, especially in today's kind of economic climate where a lot of people are working more than one job, or they're working 6, 7 days a week. They're running multiple companies. They're trying to do all these things, and sometimes, yeah, we want as much help as we can in that way, without, like you said, without the side effects, without something, screwing us up. And and none of these things are addictive, like apart from caffeine, which is addictive. But nootropics aren't addictive, and you don't get like, I don't get withdrawal symptoms from not being on nootropics or anything like that. But they definitely do. They definitely do help me. And you definitely will feel the difference. And we all know like how much better we feel when we are hydrated and we are eating well and we are cutting out the crap and you know, we are kind of on our supplement regime. We're doing all those things that we should be doing. We do, and we're sleeping better. Like, and sleep is such a huge one.
It is a huge
And I'm
one.
sure you see that a lot, right? A lot of people that come to you have a lot of their problems are coming from poor sleep or lack of sleep.
Well, it's a funny thing is, because we have the full body scan that we do, so we do your brain, your organs, everything, and that one's an hour, and then we have the, half-hour weight loss scan. And
Mm,
on that one, a lot of times, people who come to me who are struggling with their weight loss, it's, "You're not sleeping."
yeah,
And I tell them, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do to get you to sleep." And a week later, they drop, 3 pounds, and they're like, "Wow, just from
yeah.
sleeping."
It makes a huge
Because
difference. Yeah,
the body needs to repair, it needs to rest, and if you're not getting that delta REM rest, which is where your body repairs, your body's in overdrive, and it's going, and it's trying to survive, and it's stealing from Peter to pay for Paul, and till Paul gives you the middle finger.
yeah. What are your key ingredients for sleep? I mean, I like magnesium glycinate, L-theanine, the GABA. I'll take it inositol sometimes. What's your kind of like go-to for sleep, or is it different for everybody?
It's different. It's different for
Mm,
everybody. For you, it was a GABA issue. So your neurotransmitter GABA was very, very low, which is causing your brain to overthink and problem solve all night long, which means you did not get into a delta REM sleep and you did not repair. So you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm doing this, but I'm feeling tired, like I didn't sleep. And you slept 8 hours.
mm,
With GABA, it allows your brain to calm down, stop that racing thought, to actually get into that delta REM sleep, and you wake up feeling a little bit more refreshed, a little bit more energized as it goes. Some people, it's a pineal gland, so meaning this is where melatonin does work. Some people, it's not that issue. So sleep is very different for everyone, and it's not a one size fits all. Some people they do well on valerian root, and that
right.
helps
Yeah.
calm their brain. It's a stinky herb, but it works and it relaxes their body enough to rest and get that deep sleep. So it's really about the quality of sleep because you can stay in
Yeah.
alpha and theta and put your head on the pillow and not get any rest, and you slept 10 hours. Or you can actually get into that delta REM sleep and, sleep 4 hours and then you're up and you've got all the energy in the world.
Yeah, I've felt that many, many times. Well, those nights when you just kind of like you kind of lay there and you're kind of asleep, but you're not really asleep, and you're not sure, and you just wake up feeling like shit just because you never got into
Yeah.
that deep sleep. And then other nights when I've only slept 6 hours, but I was deep, and you feel so much better.
Oh my
So you're right,
God.
it is all about the quality.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah, and it's for a lot of us, obviously, it's so hard with kids because a lot of the times it's the kids that are waking me up in the night, or sometimes the animals, whatever. But it's like I can I can fall asleep. Often I can fall asleep, but then something will wake me up. And then once something's wake me up, that's when my brain starts like switching back on. I'm like, shut up, shut up. Stop talking. Yeah. And I know that's a lot of people, right? So a lot of people have those same issues. What are other what are the other like most common things that you see? So we've talked about sleep, we've talked about obviously toxicity, um, we've talked about deficiencies in certain minerals. What else do you see when you do these scans typically?
You're gonna laugh. Uh, People are constipated. People are
Yeah.
not having bowel movements the way they should, and they're not taught what that should look like.
Interesting.
And so a lot of times I tell people you're not fat, you're just bloated.
Right.
You need to get all of that out.
Yeah, because I mean, there's some people that don't have a bowel movement every day, right?
And you know what's scary is doctors tell them that's normal. Having a
Yeah.
bowel movement once or 3 times a week is normal.
Right. That's
That's not
crazy.
normal.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not normal. You should have a bowel movement after every meal, and it should be the consistency of thick peanut butter. I know it's a bad analogy, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and if you have good microbiome, you would have a good flat tummy. There are certain foods that help with bloat, certain things that, you can't have control. Hormones create bloat, drinking out of a straw, chewing gum, certain foods like cruciferous veggies all create a lot of bloat, which can, and then again, I am a total believer on blood type. Absolutely love blood type diets because it really does kind of gravitate towards what your body does well on. So blood
Mm,
type A, they gravitate more towards pescatarian. And blood type O, they're the carnivore meat eaters and they thrive on beef. But if an A tries to eat beef, they struggle. They get really bloated. It takes them longer to break that beef down. Not that they can't have it, they just have to prepare their body for that to
right.
break it down.
Right.
And that's where they get bloated or
Mm,
constipated because you're not breaking those foods down. And enzymes are one of those key components to help you break those foods down so that you can. I could teach a whole class on digestive health and
yeah.
why enzymes are important, why you need to break your food down. Because I've seen people who have the most beautiful diet. They're not absorbing it. They're not
Right.
absorbing any of the vitamins from that food.
Yeah. I think
And
pretty much everybody can probably benefit from a digestive enzyme, right?
yes,
And not going to be bad for anybody. So I think
no.
it's one of those. It's always good, a good insurance policy.
Well, again, growing up, we would always have to have some sort of fermented food in our diet.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we've kinda gotten away from that,
Totally.
because no one likes that tarty, flavor.
Which is weird because I love that. I love that tonus.
And, here's a fun fact. If you crave sugary food, it means the microbiome in your gut, the bad is outdoing the good. If you
Right.
crave tarty foods, like the sauerkrauts and the tarty yogurts and so forth, it means that the good bacteria is outdoing the bad,
Oh, good. Good news for me then.
right?
Yeah, it just goes back to what we always say, like, it's not what you eat, but what you absorb that counts. Like, that's the real truth of it, right? It doesn't matter, you can eat all the
Mhm,
things in the world, but if
mhm.
you're not absorbing it. Same thing with supplements. Take all the supplements in the world, but if you're not absorbing it, it's not gonna make a damn bit of difference.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta make sure the absorption's there. So, let's talk through just for the listeners, like, the practicalities of this process. So when people meet with you, obviously you sit down and you have kind of a consult first. You kind of have a chat, right, and learn a little bit about them,
Right.
and then you do the scan, and then you wait for the results to come through, and then you kind of break it down for them, like what it all means. Is that a good summary?
Yes. It takes about, I would say 15 minutes for you to put your hand on this little guy, and then it's gonna read onto my computer. We'll have a printout. The fun part is, I mean, the only thing I'm asking you is your blood type, but we could do it there if you don't know your blood type. Um, what supplements? So this is while this thing is scanning, I'll go over supplements and seeing are these the right ones for you? Do you need to change them, keep them, up the dose, whatever we need to adjust on that. And then usually by that time, the report comes out, and then we start going over the details of everything. So it's about an hour
Mm.
to do. And
Yeah,
then,
and
go ahead.
obviously you're getting a ton of information in that hour. And like I said to you guys, like, I went in and obviously, I've done the biosignature stuff. I've been on this kind of like in this naturopath kind of like supplement world for a long time. And even I was kind of like, wait, what is this? Like, I was kind of like skeptical of it. Like, I didn't really get it. And then when Mitzi did it, and Mitzi, as you guys can hear, like, Mitzi's a wealth of knowledge on this stuff. She really does know her stuff on this. And just in chatting to her, just in talking to her, you gather a lot of information, even without the scan. And then, she'll she'll say, well, maybe we'll see this. Well, based on what you're telling me, maybe we'll see this, maybe we'll see that. And then you actually see it coming through in real time. And Mitzi was pretty much bang on with me. We basically saw what we expected to see. And, from that, the GABA, the digestive enzyme, stuff we were able to add into my kind of routine, which massively helped me. And, I think sometimes, again, we're really good at doing like the hard things, like I'm going to go work out hard, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to climb a mountain, and I'm going to run a marathon, and I'm going to, everything. We get like this sense of like, I did something incredible today. But sometimes the best thing we can do for ourselves is really just understand our bodies and understand what's going on, because that will make everything else better. You're fixing yourself from within, rather than trying to seek all this external stuff to try and make you feel better. So I would encourage you guys to try this, to go see Mitzi at Pharos Athletic Club in Palm Springs, or to reach out. We'll pop her email at the bottom of the notes here so that you guys have it. Because I know that a lot of you guys, will listen to this and you'll be going, you know what, that's me. That really does ring true, and I feel like I'm going through that, and you know I talked to a lot of you guys about the importance of protein and magnesium, and the importance of eating real food and staying away from junk, and so I can give you like the surface level recommendations and stuff like that, but Mitzi can go real deep on this stuff and specific to you. Like, again, I sometimes I give people like general guidelines, like generally I recommend this. Everybody needs more protein usually, like, you can be very general about these things, but to really understand like what's uniquely happening with you, and sometimes just small little things that you can change, or small things that you can avoid, can make all the difference to your energy, to your workouts, to your lifestyle, to how well you're sleeping, to your mood. There's a lot to consider, and a lot we can easily fix. So, this is something that you guys should, seriously consider. It's it's a non-intrusive thing. It's very simple, very basic. Mitzi's lovely, and I think you guys will get a lot out of it. Mitzi's going to be at Pharos Athletic Club every Friday and Saturday, and you can book appointments. We'll put the email at the bottom. And again, it's a very insightful, easy, non-intrusive thing to do that you guys can get a lot of. And there really is no downside, guys. It really is. You're only going to benefit from it. So well worth doing. Mitzi, is there anything else you want to kind of like convey to people? Do you want to talk a little bit about, any objections you come across, or any doubts people may have?
Oh yeah, I get that all the time. A lot of my clientele base is referral.
Mm,
Someone gets in, they're like, "Oh my God, you have to do this." I have clients all over the world actually. London, Hawaii, New York. I have a lot of clients in New York. In fact, I have a trainer in New York who was struggling. He was completely fit, but just really struggling. We got him on a regimen, and now you can see his six pack. And he calls it
mm,
the Mitzi effect. And so I'll get a testimonial from him, but
yeah,
all over the place. And I love this because I want to help people see and understand their body and know. I want them to get to a point where they don't need me anymore. And they're like, oh, I'm tired. I need some protein. Or I'm feeling bloated. I'm not fat. I'm just, needing to do some things to get that debloating out. There's all these things we forget to listen to our body. We're being told by everybody else what to do. I
yeah,
want to teach people how to fine tune themselves and ask the right questions to their doctors.
yeah,
What tests should I be getting? And, the knowledge is power in the medical industry because we're all lost. We don't
yeah.
know the right questions to ask. And if you don't know the right questions to ask, you get bypassed.
Um, if people want to read up on this stuff, is there any good resources that you'd recommend to increase knowledge about this topic?
The scan or
GAN or naturopath type stuff. What are your favorite kind of like books or resources to go to?
um well, that's a good question. The scan, actually, I created the pamphlets at the gym that you can get that explain it more on a scientific level.
Mm,
Um, but if you want the science behind it, yeah, just contact me. We'll sit and talk, and I'll give you the science behind it.
great.
As a naturopath, it depends on what you're looking for because not all naturopaths will have this. I call this my little cheat. because most naturopaths will sit down and ask you a bunch of questions and start to fine tune things. I don't have to ask you those questions. My machine does it for you. And this
Yeah.
is where I'm like, oh, okay, you're D3 deficient and you're, magnesium and whatever. It'll tell me and I don't have to guess, which is why
Yeah.
I love this thing.
Oh, one thing I wanted to ask you about D3, because sometimes we'll say, well, like, I don't think I need vitamin D. Like, I live in Palm Springs. I'm getting a lot of sun all the time. But a lot of those people are still vitamin D deficient, right? So why do we see so much vitamin D deficiency in people, even if they live in sunnier climates?
Because we all wear sunblock and we're
Mm,
all indoors under UV light. And very rarely are we out when the sun is out. And the peak time to be out is from 12 to 2. But that's usually out here in Palm Springs, oh dear God, hot.
yeah.
So we are inside in our ACs and we don't go outside that often. And even when
Yeah.
we do, absorption really depends on nutrient levels, your mineral levels. Are you absorbing that vitamin D efficiently? And if you aren't doing dry brushing or getting those dead skin cells off, your skin isn't absorbing the vitamin D efficiently.
Mm,
And you need the K2 as well, because the K actually helps your parathyroid glands here redistribute the calcium you get from your food into the right place. I'm 100% not a big fan of anyone taking two supplements from a pill, vitamin C and calcium. The calcium out there is crap, and
mm,
these parathyroid glands tend to redistribute the calcium in the wrong place. And vitamin C is usually made of ascorbic acid, which means your body only absorbs 100 milligrams. Beyond 100 milligrams, say it has 1,000, which most vitamin C's do, the other 900 milligrams are stealing minerals from your body and flushing it out. And there's
mm.
actual studies showing that someone who takes a vitamin C pill versus from food, the person with food actually gets higher amounts of vitamin C than the person with the pill.
Yeah. What's the best sources of vitamin C? Obviously, oranges, we know.
Kiwi, bell peppers, obviously the oranges and lemons and limes, those are the highest.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you, Mitzi. This has been very insightful. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're going to put all Mitzi's contact information at the bottom of this podcast so you guys can get it. But Mitzi, do you want to just quickly say email or anywhere else that people can reach you?
My cell number, which is 951-453-9034, or you can reach me by email at Cyto, which is CYTO, wellnesslab@gmail.com.
Okay. And do you have Instagram or no?
I'm working on that.
Okay. Very good. All right, Mitzi. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
I
you.
hope you enjoyed that. Come see us in Palm Springs. We're on 3455 North Indian Canyon. Fantastic facility there. You can come hang out with Mitzi, hang out with me, hang out with the whole crew. Great team down there. Come see us in Pharos Echo Park on Glendale Boulevard, 1360 Glendale Boulevard, our original gym right there. Renovating the bathrooms right now. I'm excited about that. Come see us in Idlewild if you want a little trip to the mountains. It's about to snow up here, so if you want a winter getaway, Rocky Four style, come up here. And in Redondo Beach, you want a little trip to the beach, we are down in Redondo in the South Bay on Artesia Boulevard. Come see us there. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. We will be back soon. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram at Pharos Athletic Club. Follow me at Pieter Vodden, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon in the gym. Take care, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Mitzi.
Thank you.